All right, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, January 25th. The time is 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this regular board meeting to order by first asking everybody to please rise and say a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for those of you who have seen it, you'll see a note at the number 2. I have to move to go into an executive session for both a contract negotiation issue, a personnel issue, and since the final draft, I have to now add a litigation issue on a previous litigation case. I make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by myself, seconded by Councilman Murphy to go into an executive session, and we will be returning to the dais for the continuation of the regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now in executive session. Okay, everybody. No decisions were made, no money was spent. At this point in time, I'd like to move that we go back into a regular town board meeting session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brought by myself, seconded by Maluda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor, we're back in a regular meeting session. All right. At this point in time, are there any public comments or questions on agenda items only? If you have any questions or comments, please approach the podium.
Good evening, board members, Supervisor Yeno, board members. My name is Jill Fieldstein, Dover Plains. Thank you so much for putting the issue of the energy infrastructure moratorium on the agenda tonight. Much appreciated. I'm here tonight to ask this board to agree that the time to issue such a moratorium is now. There are all sorts of environmental reasons to impose this moratorium, reasons that I will let others more knowledgeable about speak about. What I want to talk about is how is the impact that these power facilities are having on the character of our beautiful town. We were at the planning board meeting the other night, on Monday night, during the public comments of the Transco project. A very interesting and disturbing discussion came up regarding the character of our town. During the hearing, the board reviewed the draft environmental assessment form that the board is required to fill out. The form has all sorts of questions about the Transco project's impact on the environment. The last area of questions related to whether the project was inconsistent with the existing community character. The planning board answered that yes, the Transco project is inconsistent with the existing community character, but then went on to answer all the subparts to the question by saying that the project will have little to no impact on the community character. It was very confusing, but it became clear as the discussion went on that the reason the board determined that Transco project will have little to no impact on the existing community character was because Cricket Valley had already impacted and altered the existing community character. So another power facility in town would not really change anything. One board member pushed back and asked, so doesn't this open the door to approving all sorts of other power facilities that may be out of character with the community? Projects like the expanding Iroquois pipeline and the proposed Daroga hydrogen plant? The board's silence to this question was deafening. While listening to this really dispiriting discussion at the planning board, I couldn't help but think back to the really wonderful marketing plan for Dover that was presented at the December 28th town board meeting. This marketing plan, entitled Grow with Dover, is intended to inspire a renaissance in Dover's small business community. This marketing campaign will emphasize all the things we love about Dover: its beauty, its farms, its open spaces, our sense of community. But I can't help wondering how this marketing campaign is going to hide the obvious, that our beautiful town is becoming a haven for all sorts of power facilities. The time is now for this board to make a decision. Do we want to stay true to the Grow with Dover marketing campaign and keep this town attractive to new businesses and new families? Or are we going to throw our hands up as Dover is transformed into an energy infrastructure dumping ground? The decision is in your hands.
Thank you, Jill. Let me first say that If we weren't prepared like we are to finally go to set a public hearing date, it wouldn't have been on the agenda. So you're welcome. But if it wasn't ready, it wouldn't have been. All right?
I didn't quite understand what you
We're finally ready to set a date for public hearing.
said. Excellent.
If we weren't prepared to that with our studies and our research, it wouldn't have been on. All right?
Okay.
Any other comments on agenda items only?
Good evening, Charlie Quimby, 81 Cricket Hill Road. Good evening, Supervisor Yano and Town Board members. I commend you for taking appropriate action on a town-wide moratorium on certain energy and infrastructure projects that not only threaten the beauty of our town, but the health and safety of residents, our natural resources, and the future of our town. This type of utility infrastructure development is not the way forward for long-term, sustainable, and equitable growth. It discourages the right kind of development and investment that our town needs and would benefit from most. A supermarket, medical center, entertainment, restaurants, manufacturing, etc. These are things that would increase the number of local jobs, tax revenue, property values, and quality of life of residents. In addition, it would have a positive effect on all local businesses. Before any further projects even get to the application phase, we must have a zoning code that matches our values and what we want for the town. We cannot allow companies to tell us what is a permitted use. We decide that. Anyone noting taxes as a reason to let this garbage into our town needs to realize one thing. The majority of taxes from these projects goes to our school district. Our school district is heavily subsidized by state aid. Any tax revenue to the school district by these energy projects will likely decrease aid from the state. It will benefit others in the state and county, but not us. It's a lose-lose situation for Dover. In closing, these facilities leave a permanent scar on the beauty of this town and have significant adverse financial repercussions for residents and the town as a whole, impact our quality of life, and degrade our environment. Again, thank you for taking appropriate action, and thank you for your time and consideration.
You're welcome, Mr. Quimby. Anybody else? Any other comments on agenda items
Oh,
only?
thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Sir?
He's going to speak in public comment.
Oh, okay.
Supervisor.
I saw you getting ready there, so I thought you wanted to speak. If you want to speak at the end, that's fine. There's a public comment
It
at the
relates
end.
to this, but if I have to wait till the end, I will.
You don't have to.
I could speak on this subject now?
On agenda items only, and that is on the agenda. Go ahead.
I think it is, but I was instructed it may not be.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Is it on the moratorium?
It pertains to it.
Go ahead, I'll let you.
Thank you so much. My name is Frank Mancuso. I have studied substations intensively for about 30 years, and their oils have killed thousands of people. On 9/11, a substation in Lower Manhattan burned, and I notified the authorities of the dangers and people would die of cancer from the oil, from the burning. I was ignored at the time, and now there have been over 7,000 deaths that have been totally attributed to the fires and fumes from the transformer oils. I have been to several planning board meetings here, and I try to explain to the planning board the issues with happens if transformers catch on fire. And the planning board said there's no impact on human health. So that tells me the planning board does not have the scope to understand the issue, and I and other people have asked them to hire an expert so they know the potential hazards. Like a fireman shouldn't be exposed to a fire. The liquids from trying to put the fire out should not drain anywhere. They have no provisions for any of that. So knowing I could have saved 7,000 lives in Manhattan if somebody had listened, and there's a compensation fund of billions of dollars for people that breathe the air over an 18-month period that are impacted to this day, I want to at least make a public comment and try to relieve the burden I have on my conscience for those 7,000 lives, for the future lives that may be lost. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The town
Thank you.
needs to hire an expert.
I believe each and every one of these issues has been brought to the planning board, correct?
They haven't hired an expert.
That's a planning board project, that is why. It is up to that board. I don't govern that board. It is their project and they're handling it. We'll go from there, okay? Thank you, though, for your comments. Anybody else? Next. Presentation by Guy Metallion? Okay. On behalf of Cannaby NYC Indoor Cannabis Cultivation. Hold on, I'll find your presentation for you, sir.
Thank you. I think the relevant slide is 6 or 7 for our discussion.
You tell me when to stop.
More. You're good.
Okay.
First of all, good evening, everyone.
Just do me a favor, please state your name and please speak into the microphone. You're a little hard to hear.
My name is Guy Matalon. I'm here from Cannaby NYC.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening to allow us to present us our potential project in Wingdale. We are existing operators in California. We own a dual licensing, city and state, that allows us to legally operate and cultivate indoor cannabis. And due to the new state regulation, we are looking into identifying a property and checking the feasibility with the city and all the appropriate departments in the county if needed to make sure the property in Wingdale is good for indoor cannabis cultivation. In terms of developing the site, we intend to put some security fences and gates and install live video monitoring and all the required state to make sure everything is safe for the public and for ourselves. Once operating, it's a 24/7 secured by a third-party security company. The site has enough space to both for employees and if needed for visitors. And we see it as a very good potential city to develop an agricultural project that is heavily relied on a lot of technologies to allow for indoor farming. If you skip to the next slide, our speciality is growing indoor efficiently and using all the utilities. We use LED lights, who are proven to be more efficient than high-pressure sodium or metal halide for indoor farming. We work with a lot of agricultural technology firms that allow us for better use of our water use for fertigation for the plants, and also making sure that the HVAC is very efficient to allow for a better energy use. Our designs got credit for being more efficient by other departments in the state of California, and we're looking to do the same here, working with the relevant departments to see what is feasible and making sure everything is permitted and is built the way that each department wants. We understand this is pretty new for everyone in the state of New York, and I would leave the kind of floor open to any questions if you need to about more into depth. I can tell that between phase 1 and phase 2 we anticipate having 40 to 80 employees between full-time and part-time. Our use of space for using vertical, so we grow in 2 tiers versus 1, that requires more labor but also allows more output. And if you swing to the one more slide, that's just how it looks in terms of working. It's a very convenient situation to work in. And if you switch to the next one, this just breaks down kind of what the flowering cycle of the plant goes into these buildings in order to produce flour that could be sold to another licensed operator in the state of New York once everything is up and going. And if we move to the next slide, this is assuming that space, we haven't submitted any building permit. This is all estimation, but this is what we think we can produce in terms of yearly outputs of pounds. And the next slide. One more, please. One more. This is my chicken sketch one up.
Back one?
Yeah. This is our chicken sketch for how a rectangular, the way the property is built right now, how we would divide it into growing rooms and what other supporting stuff we need for it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward plan that has been constructed already, and we know how to build it, and obviously we'll get local subcontractors and the appropriate people to get it inspected and get a COA and get it going. But we are very excited to potentially having this project in the city, and I'm open for any kind of questions you have.
Now, just the first question, because I know there's people out there wondering where you're talking about doing this. This is going to be the long commercial building going south past Cricket Valley Energy.
I believe it's
On the left-hand side, correct?
Exactly.
The old
200
boundary
away,
fence.
it's on
The old
that.
boundary fence building.
Yes.
Yep. And you've been in discussion or questioned our building inspector already about the availability or what's allowed in there?
We are currently opening up and wanting to know who are the appropriate people so we know what type of information they need for us to provide.
Okay.
It's very in its infancy, and we are here to open that dialogue to make sure we're doing it the appropriate way, the way the city wants it and the state wants it. We are operating in California, but we want to make sure we're doing everything appropriately here.
Tom, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Does this layout or the description that he's given on this type or form of business, does this strictly fall under ag?
Yes.
Or is it bound, or is the opt-out that we took and is still,
No, the opt-out
because
was
of zoning.
for retail.
retail
Yeah,
dispensary?
this wouldn't, you wouldn't be selling directly to the public, correct?
Agricultural
They would be a supplier into the New York State.
Well, that was the
Cannabis
question. Is
system.
that considered selling or not, if you're distributing to other distributors?
It's not, the law that we opted out of is retail. So
Okay.
this, we'd have to look at the zoning code if this is strictly agricultural or not. I'm not going to make a determination. It's first I'm hearing about the application. But as far as
No
the
application
opt-out, that Dover opted out of having legal dispensaries in town, this one, project wouldn't fall under that.
Okay. When he said he would distribute, to me, that's selling it.
I believe you mean distribute into a licensed,
Exactly. I'll rephrase it. There are multiple different types of licenses. We are having an indoor cultivation license, which allows us to cultivate, and a distributor license would then take the flower from us, test it, then would need to get a COA in order to sell it to a dispensary. We don't intend to have any retail component or a delivery component.
yeah. So somebody couldn't walk in off the street and buy marijuana from them. It would have to be.
But like I said, when he used the words distribution to other distributors or providers, to me, that was selling. That's why I asked the question, because I knew we opted out of the, I said selling, it's retail. All right.
Do you have similar size operation in California?
Yes.
What would be like the water draw on that for a day?
We have a 8,000 gallon tank, but we don't use it all day. I would say a daily consumption for a site like this, if no problems were made, the plants are just drinking, you're talking about a 5, at full capacity, 6,000 gallons.
Per day.
A lot of
A lot of
plants.
water. It's a lot of water.
Those things are thirsty.
Yeah.
What is mother and veg?
That's the
At the end.
propagation area. Since in cannabis cultivation, there is the
The mother plant.
yeah. So that's where you make cuts and you make the new seedlings, and that's how you basically produce clones, which are then they're treated in different environments. So there's 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness in the mother and veg. And when they move to flower 1 through 9, they're at a 12-hour of light and 12-hour of darkness. So that's why they need to be in a separate room to grow and feed the other 9 rooms of production.
And then,
It's a nursery, basically.
no, that's fine. And then one other question about security. Is it indoor security or outside perimeter security?
The way we intend to operate is where there's always a guard on site. If we can have 2, depending on the volume, and 1 normally welcomes, make sure the exterior side of the operation is taken care of. The gates are closed, the doors are closed, no unauthorized individual can walk on site, and then we also have a security guy on site, looking at all the cameras, making sure everything is safe and secure.
Would this be your first facility in New York?
Yes.
Are you in front of New York currently for a cultivation permit?
No, the state has not opened up yet for accepting
okay.
any type of application, but we're trying to be, we know what the lay of the land is, and we want to be proactive to see what cities are available for us and what cities are welcoming our use so we can thrive together.
I only have one more question. I know that there's kind of like laws on the books for where it is in compared to schools. That doesn't have anything to do.
Well, I have to
I know
see
retail
their
is
full
different.
application.
Yeah, I know
but-
retail is
Yeah,
different.
retail is different. This
But
wouldn't be, again, this
wouldn't-
is more of an agricultural,
Okay.
indoor agricultural use, so we'd have to look into that.
Okay.
And we're part of the, with the adoption of the comprehensive plans to update the zoning code, so that's something that could be looked into as well.
All right. Okay. I'm good.
In California, do you handle transport,
No, we.
the third party,
Yes.
during business hours?
Sorry?
Transport is only during business hours, or is it a 24 operation? I mean, are there going to be trucks going in every hour of the day, or?
For transporting, most of the time, it's been done on business hours. If
Okay.
it's outside of the business hours, it's being handled appropriately, meaning we won't do a midnight transaction, a big transaction, when we don't have the security. We keep the transaction to daytime, but sometimes they bleed to overtime. But a transporter license is a separate license, and a distributor license is also a
Different
separate
as well.
one. So maybe a transporter license comes to pick it up for a different licensee, so.
I just ask for, in regards to like noise, if you're.
But the trips are minimal. I would say you would have 1 to 2 truck trip for dropping our cultivation supplies, all the mediums and salts, and maybe a CO2 truck to fill up the tanks. And I would say trucks don't come and pick up cannabis. It's mostly a smaller van because of the volume and the price, and nobody
Got it.
wants to drive a lot of value in their car, so they come in smaller
Got it.
things. It's not trucks.
Anybody else, John?
No, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around the whole thing, and it's in its infancy, so we gotta, how did you find out about the building? Like, what was on, like,
We know the size of building that is our sweet spot.
right?
We know we need some site on top of the floor plan to accommodate for the parking lot for the employees. It's a big site. We can potentially even build more if necessary. So these are the factors we've been looked into. We don't have any authorization from anything, but if that's how we're looking in different cities that are more, that we can also find the right labor to come in and hire. When we get off the ground, we don't bring our California employees. We need to start everything from scratch,
Gotcha.
and that's our intention. So
Ms. Jackson?
No, thank you. No questions. Somebody answer.
Clerk, you have anything?
I did, but I forgot. Oh, yes, I do, only because I've been helping them get to the presentation. Would this be something they have to apply for a permit with the town for? I know that's kind of premature because they haven't, but I think I'm
They
going
would
to
have to go through site plan approval
Okay.
and planning board approval.
All right, good to know.
And I would have to look, because if this isn't, I would have to look at the use table and see exactly
also
what
new.
their submission was and find out if it required a permit, special permit from the town board, but most likely, planning board approval. And then, but I would have to also look into the fact that they don't have a license from New York State, so I'm not sure how we could approve a project for a use without a license too. So that's something that, it's, like I said, it's first hearing about this tonight, so.
Okay, thanks, that's good.
All right. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
may I have last question? Just- or-
Sure.
Is it a site plan and a floor plan, just depicting what's going to be there, or is it a full construction set drawing that you would like to see in that examination?
It would be a combination. You would have to speak to the building inspector,
And get
and then he could give you information, application, and
Okay.
that would give you in detail what would be required.
Amazing.
But again, he would have to have a license in New York State to even.
It might, we'd have to look into that, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I was going to ask about the water, you covered that.
And next on the agenda, at this time, I'd like to move that we open a public hearing on the 2023 Town of Recreation fee schedules.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Brought by myself, seconded by House, to open a public hearing on the 2023 Town and Recreation fee schedules. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It is carried. Public hearing is now open. Any comments from the public on the 2023 Dover Town or Recreation fee schedules? Any discussion from the board? I've reviewed them. I don't have any major issues.
I think they're reasonable.
I feel the increases that were made are justified. The ones that maintained, we feel that is sufficient. After talking with our rec director and the building department, I have no issues with it.
No, we were there. Spent a lot of time on it. Julie did a good job.
Questions?
No, good.
Anybody from the residents in the crowd tonight? No? Seeing nobody approaching the podium, hearing or seeing no other comments or questions from the board, I move that we close the public hearing on the fee schedule. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brought by myself, seconded by House to close the public hearing on the fee schedules. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed, fee schedule is carried. Go later. Conversation tonight and the discussion on adopting a legislation for a temporary townwide energy infrastructure development moratorium. As I stated earlier, we've been doing some research since this was brought to us by Mr. Vincent a few meetings ago. We're doing some research on what the moratorium could cover or not cover. As we all know, certain utility projects are governed by both federal and state laws. So we've been looking into that. We feel we're at a point where myself and council and Deputy Supervisor House, we feel we're at a point where we are comfortable enough to set a public hearing date. I'd like to set that date for public hearing, if I may, for the February's meeting. I believe that is the 22nd?
week early.
Check it tomorrow.
Public hearing for 22nd of February. Any discussion or any questions? Tom, anything to add?
No, hopefully have a draft of a proposed local law, because the moratorium has to be done by local law, to the town clerk at some point next week, early February. This way it could be circulated, and we could have public comment on it at the 22nd, meeting on the 22nd.
All right. Any other discussion? Clerk?
We'll post it on the website so people can view it as well.
Okay. Councilwoman Jackson?
No, no comments.
I just think it's important to keep in mind that this is not something that's going to happen overnight. There's multiple agencies that are probably going to have to get a set of eyes on this and to review. This is a good thing. It will move forward, but there'll be a lot of different departments, I think, even countywide, statewide, that'll have to be involved in this.
Councilman Murphy?
No comments.
Maluda?
I agree with Andrew. It's, we got to dot our i's and cross our t's, and there's a lot of people involved, so this is a good thing.
Seeing no further discussion, we'll move on. Report to the Recreation Department and the Highway Super.
Yeah, I can do it, sure.
Jason's out.
Report from Highway Superintendent Jason Sartori. Sorry I could not make it tonight. My crew and I are out this evening sanding and salting the roads. This month, the highway crew has been busy cutting back brush on roads that are overgrown. Also, we have started doing ditch work and will continue to do so as long as the weather stays in our favor. I would like to thank my team for continuing to get things done. That's all.
Thank you, Andrew. Rec report, Councilman Murphy.
Recreation report from Julie. Basketball is in full force with practices during the week, and basketball games are on Saturday starting at 8 a.m. at the high school gym. The senior program is on Monday and Thursdays from 9:30 to 2:30 at the American Legion Hall. Line dancing is on Mondays, and senior exercise is on Thursdays. The adult Zumba, and boot camp will resume in February. Kiddie Corral is an ongoing program until June. That's on Tuesdays from 10 to 11 at the JHK Community Room. The Easter egg hunt will be on Saturday, April 8th at Boyce Park at 1 o'clock. And the rec department is busy working on summer day camp calendars. That should be out soon, as well as organizing our next Dover Day date to be coming. And thank you. Great job, Julie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reports from the supervisor and the town board members. Councilman Maluda.
No report this month.
And Councilwoman Jackson.
The library, the Dover Library, has formed a Friends of the Library group, and the next meeting is February 13th, if anybody would like to join. And then Dover Union Free School District is going to have a open house, Donuts with Dr. Fine, on Saturday, April 4th at 9 a.m. if anybody in the community wants to go and speak to the superintendent of schools.
Donuts. Councilman Murphy.
No report this month.
Deputy Supervisor House.
March 19th, Sunday, March 19th, 8 o'clock in the morning, we are doing the 5K again in collaboration with the Lions Club and the Eastern Duchess Roadrunners Club. It's a really nice morning. I encourage you all to sign up or to be there if you can. It's a nice 5K through town. It's a run, walk, whatever is good for you. We kind of loop around North Farm, back around 10 Mile, and back to the park. There's a small opening ceremony at 8:45, and then the Lions Club will be whipping up Shamrock Shakes, and we have a nice, just a light continental breakfast for people. We're hoping that at that point as well, we'll have the concrete pads at least started for the outdoor workout equipment to at least show the progress there and how that's working and how we're trying to redevelop not only a walking track, but kind of an outdoor fitness area, which is a really cool thing for our town. So I encourage you to be there. Try to. It'll be a great morning. Thank you.
Run your laps, take your walk, and drink some shakes.
That's it. Exactly.
Amen. All right. Yeah, I have a few things tonight. I got to let everybody know I actually have to thank a resident, Mr. Quimby, for giving us this information tonight. Next Tuesday, the 31st, he sent us the information. We actually received it a day later from the state. At 6 p.m. on the 31st, it will be presented. A presentation will be done by the DEC, State of New York, on the upcoming Iroquois Compressor Station project. It's a public hearing online. It'll be hosted on WebEx. The information is on our website, Katie?
Yes, it is.
It is on our website so that you can see how to register if you're interested in sitting through it. I believe there's also an option if you'd like to speak. I am registered to participate next Tuesday. I have had some conversations with this upcoming project that's coming to Dover with a representative from DC, Karen Gades, maybe? I know I'm butchering that last name, but I have talked to her a couple times. We have discussed on a few things what will be coming to that with that project. We've also discussed extending the public comment period, which I believe she said was requested as well from others. It has not been decided on whether or not they will, but they said it is being considered. The plans will show some expansion on the existing site, she stated. The DEC approval process is underway at this time. So for those of you who are interested, view or join in on the public hearing next week and see what will be done to improve or expand the compressor station at the Iroquois location on Dover Furnace Road. We will be going into the third phase of work being done at the town hall in the next couple months, possibly next month. The phase consists of all the offices being redone, painted, and floors, such as what has happened in the two large rooms here in the town hall. We ask the residents and our customers to please understand that it may take a little longer to return or produce some things that are requested or asked for. With major work or upgrades comes the hiccups and the delays, and we all have to deal with it, including ourselves and including our everyday staff who will have to go through it as well. So we'll announce when that's going to take place. Again, please bear with us. It'll only be 3 weeks long. Just like it was with the two big rooms here, but this time it involves the everyday workspace, not the once in a while throughout the month space, okay? I also have to announce that there's been several items that have come down the pipe from Albany in the last couple of weeks since the first of the year, from community and town statistics, remapping issues for our legislative and state representatives, county and local, tax exemptions for our volunteers, our seniors, and our veterans. We will be and have already started working on with our state representatives to put these items in motion. Obviously, it will not take effect for the tax bills that you're already paying, and our tax collector has been collecting already starting January. But we have a time frame. We have until late summer, is what our assessor is telling me. So we will go to work on this in the next few months. We will get these in place with the guidance of our state and our county reps. And take care of those that have been passed. The latest one is the volunteer tax break for volunteer firemen and EMS. We'll be looking into that and bringing that down the pipe as well. And the last thing I received actually today. The New York State Department of Public Service. The New York State Department of Public Service and Consumer Advocate are seeking public comment regarding alleged billing, meter reading, and customer service issues affecting customers of New York State Electric and Gas Corporation. To ensure full public participation, the Public Service Commission will hold virtual public forums on January 31st, 2023, and in-person forums on February 1, 7, and 8, 2023, to solicit input and comments regarding these issues. Any person wishing to provide a comment at the virtual forum must pre-register electronically or call 1-800-342-3330 to register by phone. Speakers will be called in the order in which they registered. Any participant not able to log into the forums electronically may participate by phone. There's two virtual forums. One is at 1 p.m. and one is at 6. So, board members, I've handed out this copy. As you heard earlier, I am tied up at the 6 p.m., and I will be at work at the 1 p.m. If I may ask if somebody could possibly try to sit in on one of those two, so we have that information as well.
Yeah.
The enclosed notice provides detailed information on how to participate. Information regarding this matter, including a copy of the issues, can be found at www.dps.ny.gov. From the homepage, click on the search and enter the associated matter number 23-00068 in the search by case number field. Okay, that was sent to us today by the Department of Public Service. We all know we've been having issues with billing with NYSEG, and on the other side of the hill, Central Hudson, all right? This information will be posted to our website as always, again, I mean.
You asked me today, and it's up.
Yep, so this will be posted to our website, so you can go to our websites, get that information down, and find out how you can register from there. Okay, but that came today, and because of the issues we've had, I wanted to make sure I got that out tonight. Anybody else have any comments from the board? If not, we will get right into resolutions. Council, you have anything? Madam Clerk, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. What's going on about resolutions? Resolution to authorize and approve consent agenda items. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby approve the following items for consideration and adoption on the January 25th, 2023 Town Board regular meeting consent agenda. Authorized payment of abstract number 1 of 2023 in the amount of $632,785.73. Accept the minutes of the Town Board meetings of December 28th, 2022, and the organizational Town Board meeting of December 28th, 2022. Approve the Town Clerk's report for December of 2022. Approve Town Supervisor's monthly financial report for December of 2022. And authorize budget transfers, budget amendments, and payment of off-abstract purchase orders as prepared and submitted by the town's bookkeeper. Do I have any discussion? Do I have a motion? Sorry. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. You skip one?
I don't know what I did here.
Nope, you did.
Off abstract.
Yep, next one.
And then we're
Mine's out of order. I might have got
Maybe
mine out
look
of
at the
order.
very end, because we put it in at the last, later this afternoon. If not, I can go get a copy.
This one's the next one.
no, all offices.
The assessors.
Oh,
It
well,
was
No,
after
he's
the
the-
numbered one.
the painting.
A is the,
Is the painting.
whatever, we'll go off these ones here.
Right there. Resolution authorizing tax assessor to authorize electronic filing for application for real property exemptions pursuant to Section 104 of the Real Property Tax Law. Whereas, under Section 104 of the Real Property Tax Law, an assessing unit that wishes to authorize the electronic filing of applications for real property tax exemptions must comply with certain standards established pursuant to the authority under RPTL 104-1A. And whereas the Town of Dover tax assessor must be authorized by resolution to accept e-filing for exemptions applications, and whereas the town assessor must publish instructions for e-filing applications by a method reasonably calculated to reach prospective applicants. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes the town assessor to authorize the electronic filing of applications for real property tax exemptions in compliance with the standards set forth by the New York State Real Property Tax Law 104 of the Real Property Tax Law and the authority under RPTL 104-1A. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing delegates for 2023 New York State Association of Towns Annual Meeting. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby designate Supervisor Richard Gino to be the Town of Dover delegate at the 2023 Association of Towns Annual Meeting to be held during President's Week, February of 2023, and to cast the vote for the Town of Dover pursuant to Section 6 of Article 3 of the Constitution and bylaws of said association. And be it further resolved that the Deputy Supervisor Andrew House is hereby designated alternate delegate for the Town of Dover for the 2023 Association of Towns Annual Meeting in the event Supervisor Richard Gino is unable to attend the annual business session of the Association of Towns and vote on behalf of the Town of Dover. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brought by House, seconded by Maluta. Any discussion?
Set a date?
It's the week of, but I don't have the exact date with me now.
Can you make it?
I think so. Any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Resolution accepting the Iroquois Gas Pipeline Community Grant Award. Whereas the Town of Dover previously made application to the Iroquois Gas Pipeline Community Grant Award, and whereas the Town of Dover sought funding from the Iroquois Gas Transmission Systems, LP, Community Outreach Program to defray the cost of purchase and installation of the Museum in the Streets historical panels in the Dover Plains hamlet. And whereas the Town of Dover has been notified by the Iroquois Gas Transmission System, LP, Community Outreach Program, that the Town of Dover has been awarded an $8,000 grant towards the cost of this project, which is estimated at $16,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby accept the grant award from the Iroquois Community Grant Program in the amount of $8,000 to be used toward the cost of the Dover Plains Hamlet Historical Sites Walking Tour Project through a series of educational parcels and historical images. To have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Jackson. Discussion? This was brought, the pedestrian task force, correct, Jill? Right? We talked about this on the task force committee. This was brought by a committee that's formed in Dover, then myself, Katie Palmer House, representatives from town, our highway. Jill Philstein sits on that committee. This was brought to us. We discussed it. We feel it would be a good idea to go in and coincide with what we're trying to do to expand our town along with the comprehensive plan and zoning. And we felt it was a good thing. We applied, and she's not here right now, but I got to thank Katie. She does all of our grant work, and once again, she hit it out of the park. So this will be taking place once we get everything in place and the money and so on. Any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing third payment for the construction of new highway vehicle and equipment facility. Whereas construction of the new Highway Department vehicle and equipment facility continues by Land Vscape Incorporated, DBA Nicky Diggs Excavation, and whereas pursuant to the terms of contract, a third payment is due to the contractor in the amount of $310,744.64. Now be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby authorize the third payment for construction of the new highway vehicle and equipment facility to Land Vscape Incorporated, DBA Nicky Diggs Excavation, in the amount of $310,744.64. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by House, seconded by Murphy. Discussion.
I told you I'd have that building up before snow flies.
This is what is it? It's like 300 days since the last snowstorm.
If you guys and ladies haven't taken a look at it, it's coming along quite well. It's he's looked at it for us. It's coming along. It's getting there. It's not far from being done. I don't think they've set a date, but they've given an approximate date. So again,
Doors are coming in 2 weeks.
yep, doors will be in a couple weeks, yeah, and then weather permitting, the apron. So it's coming along. They made it happen.
Another project.
Weather permitting.
Yeah, any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing purchase order for Phase 3 of the Town Hall flooring.
Yeah, it's right here. It's in pages and packets.
That's the painting.
That's painting.
Yeah, it's paint, here's the flooring.
Here's RVP. That's the OGS plan.
RVP.
Oh, she's looking for the paint. She's looking for the paint.
We have it. We
You can
can
work with that?
just do it from the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, just tell them.
Resolution authorizing purchase order for Phase 3 of the Town Hall flooring. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorize the purchase and installation of flooring for Phase 3 of the Town of Dover project from RVP Flooring Systems Incorporated of Carmel, New York, in the amount of $11,900. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorize necessary budget modifications in the amount of $11,900 to amend the 2023 budget by an increase to revenue account A4089001 and increase to expenditure account A1620420. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brought by House, seconded by Murphy. Discussion. This is what I brought up earlier. This will be the flooring in my two offices, our planning and zoning office, and our IT office. This is the flooring part of that project to continue on. This gentleman here, this contractor, is state OJS, so we can actually just go out with him and hire him, seeing that he is on state contract, and that will be taking place, as I stated earlier. Any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing town supervisor to execute memorandum of understanding with Metro North Commuter Railroad Company for the installation of certain grade crossing protection devices at crossings in the town. Whereas the town of Dover has received a memorandum of understanding from the Metro North Commuter Railroad Company, Metro North, regarding certain grade crossings which have been evaluated by Metro North located at Dover Plain Station, Mill Street, Wheeler Road, and Dover Furnace Road over Metro North's Harlem Valley line located in the town of Dover. Whereas certain federal grant funds are being provided to New York State which will be dispersed by New York State DOT to MTA to defray the cost of designing, constructing, and installing such additional grade crossing protection and other safety measures. And whereas the town of Dover desires to enter into a memorandum of agreement with Metro North to upgrade certain railroad crossings in the town of Dover and enhance the safety of its residents and the public. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dover hereby authorize the town supervisor to execute a memorandum of understanding with Metro North for the installation of certain guide crossing protection designs at the crossings of Dover Plain Station, Mill Street, Wheeler Road, and Dover Furnace Road over Metro North's Harlem Valley line located in the town of Dover, as well as other safety measures in the interest of enhancing public safety. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Murphy. Discussion.
Chippewa's not included on that. Wonder whatever
Chip-
happened there.
Chippewa is happening under a different avenue. Jason has been working with a gentleman. That will be getting done. Joe, are you involved in that discussion at all? Not yet. The last I heard from Jason is that will be done. There were some land issues, Tom, with easement at the crossing on Chippewa Road?
Yeah, there was a issue of determination of who owned the property.
Yep, and that part has been ironed out.
was-
MTA,
Was looking into it.
yep, but that's gonna happen. That is not involved in this here.
This retrofit.
Yes,
or whatever
myself
they're doing there.
and Katie sat through, there's a lot of money coming this way with these crossings.
$4 million.
How much?
$4 million.
$4 million, correct. And it includes a private road, but that's their crossing, and it includes 3 other crossings within town, all at their expense. So this is a good thing. This came to us at a surprise, actually, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yes, no, it's gonna.
And it's, yeah, it just makes it that much better. Any other discussion?
We doing that in the spring, summer?
They actually
Find out
didn't
they
give us a
know
start date.
Time on it yet?
Yeah.
Metro North works with Metro North wants to.
Yeah,
Surprise.
Metro
But then it
North
would've
and State,
had
slower,
cost
slower.
anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So, any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution adopting the 2023 Town of Dover Town and Recreational Fee Schedule. Whereas, Chapter 73 of the Town Code in the Town of Dover allows the Town Board of the Town of Dover to adopt the fees after a public hearing. And whereas, on January 25th, 2023, a public hearing was held to seek public input for imposed town fees for 2023 in the Town of Dover. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby adopt the 2023 Town of Dover Town Fee Schedule as attached hereto and made a part hereof. And be it further resolved that the copy of the 2023 Town Fee Schedule shall be kept on file in the office of the Town Clerk. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by House, seconded by Murphy. Any discussion?
Fair.
I feel.
Yeah.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing the transfer of Highway Department funds. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Dover previously established a Town of Dover Highway Capital Reserve account at M&T Bank for the purchase of Highway Department equipment in 2021. And whereas the 2023 Town of Dover adopted budget authorized to fund the Highway Machinery and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, Reserve account with $25,000 from appropriation in the Town of Dover Highway Fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorize the funding of the Town of Dover Highway Machinery and Equipment Capital Reserve account as contained in the 2023 Town of Dover adopted budget, which funds shall be transferred from the Town of Dover Highway Fund. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion? This is a line that was put in place 3 years ago, 2021, 2022, and now 2023. Basically, it is what it says. It's an equipment purchasing fund. It's not a vehicle replacement fund. It's an equipment. You can buy a weed whacker to a truck with it. This was not set in place. We put it in place to utilize the pilot funds that we accept, that we receive, I should say, along with setting in place a plan in order to purchase equipment down the road, such as a down payment on a larger piece of equipment, where we just don't have to go and look for it that point in time in that year. So over the years, we put $25,000 in a line in the defund side of the budget. Each year, $25,000 gets put into this account. Any questions? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution to accept the 2022 Town of Dover Justice Court Annual Report and audits and filing with New York State Office of Court Administration, the OCA. Whereas the Town of Dover Justice Court has submitted its 2020 annual fund, 2020?
Sorry, 2022.
Yeah.
2023 annual fund report to the town.
2022. Sorry.
It's all right. It is dealing with the state, I figured maybe. 2022 annual fund report to the town board, and whereas the town board of the Town of Dover has received the 2022 Town of Dover Justice Court annual reports from the Honorable Ren Abrams and Honorable John Fusco. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Dover hereby accepts the 2022 Town of Dover Justice Court's annual report. And be it further resolved that a copy of the 2022 Town of Dover Justice Court Annual Report shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk. And be it further resolved that the town board authorizes and directs the filing of the 2022 Annual Justice Court financial reports with the Office of the Court Administration, the OCA. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by House, second by Maluta. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
It was in there.
Well, there it is.
It was in there.
Okay.
Tucked in two up from the bottom.
Yeah, it was out of order, that's all.
That's all right. We'll make it
Anything, right?
work.
Yep. So now we're going back to A.
Well, it becomes,
Resolution authorizing interior painting of offices at Dover Town Hall. Whereas the Town of Dover advertised for a request for proposals, the RFP, for painting of 4 offices at Dover Town Hall, and whereas RFPs were received, opened, and reviewed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby does award the proposal of Rising Star Infratech Corp. of Queens Village, New York, in the amount of $8,950 for interior painting of 4 offices at Dover Town Hall. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorize necessary budget modifications in the amount of $8,950 to amend the 2023 budget by an increase to revenue account A4089001 and increase the expenditure account of A16204,420. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion? As I said before, this is also part of the third phase to the 4 offices, new flooring, new painting, funds all provided by ARP money, and no hurt to the budget. It's been 25 years since anything else was done, so we finally did it. Well,
Queens Village, huh?
yeah, yep. That's the bidding process. Any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution scheduling a public hearing on a proposed local law adopting a temporary townwide public utility installation. Whereas the Town of Dover recently adopted updates to its comprehensive plan, and whereas the Town of Dover now is in the process to update the Town of Dover zoning code, and whereas the Town Board is considering adopting a temporary townwide moratorium on the construction of public utility installations so that the Town of Dover perform the necessary analysis and determine in its updated zoning code where suitable locations in the Town of Dover exist so that the Town of Dover zoning code can be updated accordingly. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover hereby authorizes the scheduling of a public hearing for February 22nd, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as public comment can be heard on the proposed local law of Dover Town at Dover Town Hall, 126 East Duncan Hill Road, Dover Plains, New York, 12522.
Should be 2023.
2023, sorry. February 20.
Yeah, February 26th.
I'll make the correction, no worries.
2023. The 3 button didn't work today. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Whichever one he wants.
Brought by House, seconded by Murphy. Any discussion?
I got one. What's temporary? In terms
I haven't
of time?
drafted this, but it'd be similar probably to the solar moratorium, where it'd be, the courts in New York have ruled that it has to have a start point and end point, so it'd probably be 6 months.
It would be
with
a
an
6
option
months.
to
That's what I meant by
potentially
temporary. What would be the temporary 6 months?
Potentially renew for another 6 months if necessary.
That's what we did with solar,
Solar,
6 months and
so
6 months.
Okay, just to keep it uniform. That's it. Okay.
Any other discussion?
Standard.
Good? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution accepting the resignation of a constable. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby accept the resignation of Town of Dover Constable Amelia Pacone, effective January 24th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by House. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing the hiring of a town constable. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dover does hereby authorize the hiring of Brandon Gonzalez to the position of town constable at an hourly rate as listed in the 2023 Town of Dover adopted budget, effective January 30th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluda, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion? Myself and Deputy Supervisor interviewed him today. We feel he is very qualified to enter into this position, and we are down, we are shy. Obviously, we just had one resign, and we were one down from our complete roster as it was. So we filled one of the 2 spots. Any other questions? Hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
This was yours, right?
At this point in time, are there any public comments from the residents sitting in the room tonight? Please approach the podium. Seeing nobody approach the podium, Tommy, do we need to go into one? Got anything for executive session? The few issues we had to do early. so-
Yeah, we did, I covered everything in the initial executive
Nothing
session,
else.
so it's up
Okay.
to the board.
All right.
So before we go, I want to make a motion authorizing the town supervisor to draft up a letter, Dutchess Land Conservatory, in support of a potential future land acquisition in the town of Dover.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Does he have a second?
Second.
Motion's been brought and seconded for me to pen a letter showing support of Dutchess Land looking into a possible purchase of some land here in the town of Dover. That sound right, Tom?
Yeah, it's a motion, it's been
Okay.
seconded, so
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll work on it.
Thank you.
With that, upcoming meetings, no special meetings as of yet, or planned for. The next regular meeting is February 22nd, which will be a public hearing at 6:30 on the moratorium. You know, I'm looking forward to some of the questions, I'm looking forward to some of the comments. This is it's a hot topic in the town, and we want to listen to you. Whether some of you believe that or not, we do. So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn, not enter into an executive session this month, just to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. Motion's made by myself, seconded by the deputy. All in favor to adjourn the regular meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night and stay safe.